don't think I did it right.
So it looks like we are live and ready to go on our Top Tips Zoom. Let me stop my share here. And so I will introduce myself. I am Amber Rickabaugh, and I have been a certified health coach for 7 years. And we wanted to bring you the topic tonight about building and preserving muscle mass. So I don't know, put it in the chat if you are either, if that's a goal of yours, maybe for 2024 is to work on building some more muscle mass to your body frame, or maybe you just recently heard about how important muscle mass is to your health, or you're just maybe looking to preserve the muscle mass you already have as you age. So would love to hear kind of where you're coming from in the chat, and maybe why it was important for you to kind of join us this evening. So we love to hear from people and just kind of what they're looking for in their health. And so I am joined tonight by 3 other health coaches as well, who's going to give you a wealth of information, and I'm going to introduce each one of them as they come on and share a little bit of the information they've prepared for you, because this is just going to be so informational. But also I want to encourage you to stay on until the end as well, because we have got a lot of great freebies for you, and we don't want you to miss out on the opportunity to get your hands on those as well. But as I mentioned, I've been coaching for 7 years, and what sparked me is that I was 122 pounds heavier at one point, and I got so excited to just dive in to learning about health to become a healthier person. And that's why I am here today. And, muscle is so important. I wrote down a few notes because I've been listening to a lot of medical experts just about muscle mass and why it's important. So I wanted to share that with you here as we get started. Just why we should be worried about this for ourselves. So did you know that your muscle mass will help you determine how much you can metabolize every day? So if you find yourself not being able to metabolize as much as you were maybe when you were younger, it could be that you are losing some muscle mass or don't have as much muscle mass as you had previously before. Also, one thing I've learned is that insulin resistance is actually tied to the amount of muscle mass you have. So if you have found that you are having trouble with that as you age, it could be because you're losing muscle mass as you age. Also, our overall functionality just as a human being and ability to recover from like falls and injuries and things like that is directly tied to our muscle mass. And then I don't know if you guys know this as well, but our number one line of defense as we age is our nutrition. And it has everything to do with our bodies, our muscle mass, how we age, all the things. And being with that said, protein and aminos have a lot to do with that. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder and what they have want to share. So I'll just give you a little teaser out there about kind of the things that we're going to be sharing with you tonight, just about why muscle is so important and some things that you can do to not only preserve your muscle mass that you currently have, but maybe even to add on some additional muscle mass if that's something that you desire to do as well. So first up, we have sharing tonight is the amazing Debbie Sullivan. She's in Arizona, and she's been in the medical field for many a year. I won't give that away, but she may share more about that. But she teaches and trains in the medical field. And I have had the privilege of hearing from a lot of her students previously before, and she's just a wealth of knowledge. And so she's the perfect person to come on board and share with you guys just some overall statistics about muscle and why it's important, and also to give you some tips about that. So Debbie, take it away.
Let me unmute. All right. Thank you, Amber. I absolutely love to talk about the human body and how fascinating it is because there are just so many incredible functions that go on in our body. Thank goodness a lot of them are automatic and we don't even have to think about them. But let's specifically talk about muscles. Did you know that there's over 600 muscles in the human body? That's a lot. And muscles make up about 40% of our body weight. The smallest muscle is actually found in your inner ear. The largest muscle is your gluteus maximus. So if you're sitting down right now, you're sitting on your largest muscle. And the strongest muscle is actually this masseter muscle in your jaw. So if you clench your teeth or if you bite, you can get 55 pounds of pressure with your incisors and about 200 pounds of pressures with your molars. So that's incredible. So there's 11 essential functions of your muscles. And I'm going to take you on a little journey through your body real quickly to talk about the importance of the muscle groups and the functions that they do. All right, first of all, I want you to roll your shoulders. Backwards, forwards feels good, doesn't it? Do you know that you've just exercised a whole bunch of your muscles? Your muscles are keeping your skeletal bones in place, they're keeping your joints in place. And if you didn't have muscles, you wouldn't be able to do that. So, mobility is super important. Another function is stability. So imagine that you are almost falling, but you're able to catch yourself and keep yourself from going down in the floor or whatever. That's because of those muscles tightening and contracting and giving you the strength to keep your body upright, to give you that stability. Especially core muscles are important for that. And then now I want everybody to sit up really nice and straight. To accomplish that movement, your abdominal muscles and your back muscles had to work together to allow you to get that posture. And so, posture is very important. I used to remember my piano teacher telling me to sit up nice and straight and get good posture at the piano. And those are muscles have to be at work in that. All right, now I want you to place your hand over your heart. We've been talking about our skeletal muscles, but your heart is also a muscle. It's made up of cardiac muscle fiber, and your heart pumps 5 quarts of blood every minute. That's about 2,000 gallons of blood a day, and it's carrying nutrients to every cell in your body. If your heart quits that pumping action, your cells are going to start to die in 4 to 6 minutes. So we got to keep that heart muscle strong and pumping. Now, I want you to take a really deep breath. When you do that, you just exercise your diaphragm because that's pushing air into your lungs, and your intercostal muscles allowed your ribs to expand so that the air could actually get into your lungs and fill your chest cavity. Now, if you move your hand over your stomach, now you're getting into the territory where we have our smooth muscles, and these are hollow organs like our intestines and our stomach. And so digestion takes place because of the action of our muscles moving food and nutrients through our system. So without those muscles, we would not be able to digest our food or get the nutrition from it. Now, you don't have to raise your hand, but have you ever had a very, very, very full bladder and you felt like if I don't get to the bathroom right now, it's going to burst? Well, the good news is that it really doesn't usually burst. It can happen, but your bladder is a muscle. And so it can expand, 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 but it can only go so far. And then your brain says, look, you got to do something now, or there's going to be a disaster. And so that's a muscle at work again to make your bladder empty. All right. If you have given childbirth, you've experienced the contractions of your uterine muscle, one of the strongest muscles in the body. And thank goodness that's how we get started in life with those muscles pushing us through that birth canal. So that's another very important function of muscles. All right. Now lean in, look at the camera, and blink, and then roll your eyes. Do you know that you just exercise more than 5 muscles? It takes a set of 3 muscles on each eye just to blink and to roll your eyes, and more muscles to move your eyelids up and down. And so, vision can't happen without good muscle movement. It even controls how your pupils expand and dilate. So, organ protection. Now, we put your hand over your stomach again, and I want you to pretend that somebody's about to punch you in the stomach. You reflexively tighten those muscles That's protecting your body from injury. So those abdominal wall muscles are going to tighten and protect your organs because your body knows that you need all of those. Have you ever been outside in the cold and you've come in and you've had a shiver? Well, that's your muscles regulating your body temperature. So you can see all these important functions that your muscles are doing. And is there one of those that you would pick to not have working well? No, we need all of those things. So it's very important to keep our muscles healthy and functioning. And this is going to help us prevent injury, give us the ability to move, keep our bones in place and our joints stable. Unfortunately, there are some conditions that can affect our muscles so that they don't work well. Inactivity is a very common problem. And if you've heard the expression, probably if you don't use it, you lose it. That's very true when you're talking about muscle function. Nutrition, as Amber's already mentioned, is very, very important, and someone else is going to talk a little bit more about that later. The good news is that you don't have to spend hours in the gym working out your muscles. A good walking program can give you some benefit as well. Aging is another factor. We don't really like to think about the fact that we're all getting older, but we also don't want to think about the alternative of not getting older. But as we age, you start losing muscle mass around age 30, and then you lose 8% for every decade of life thereafter. So there's a lot that we can do to help reverse or slow that muscle aging. Nutrition is a big one. And as I said, other people are going to talk about that. So I just want you to think about how important all these bodily functions are, how important your muscles are in carrying out all these functions, and then stay tuned to hear more. Back to you, Amber.
Holy smokes, Debbie, you are a wealth of knowledge. And I love how you made that so interactive in making us do all those movements. So I would love if you listen to all that, put in the chat, what was something that you just learned that was a muscle that maybe you had forgotten, hadn't really thought of, or maybe just now remembered now that Debbie has put it on the forefront of your brain. So I know for me, anytime anybody says sit up straight, I'm like, oh yes, I need to sit up straight. I tend to slouch. So thank you for that reminder. That was amazing. Next we have Jade Michael, who's going to be speaking with us, and she's over in Tennessee and also in the medical field as well. And she's, oh my goodness, if you know Jade, you know she's going to be hitting the gym early in the morning. And she, is just one person I think of when I think of, who is actually doing strength training, working on their body, growing their muscle mass, doing all those things. And so she wanted to come in here and just share with you guys some of the things that she's been learning over this last year, just about how important that is, and maybe some tips on how you yourself can also preserve the muscles that you already have, as Debbie had mentioned, as you age, because we're losing them, but also how you can build on top of that if that's your desire as well. So Jade, take it over.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amber. And I will say I do enjoy getting to the gym these days. And I have learned if I don't go early in the morning, it probably won't happen. But I want to start tonight sharing with you guys where I found myself a few years ago. And I'll just sum it up by saying that I was exhausted. We'll start there. I didn't have much energy. I was frustrated, and I would call myself skinny fat. And you're probably like, what in the world? But this is what I mean by that. If you were to have seen me, you probably would have felt like, yeah, Jade looks fine. I think she's healthy. Truth be told, if we could have peeled those layers back, I did not have enough muscle and I had layers of fat in there. So that's why I didn't have a lot of energy. And I was frustrated because it was a time in my life that I needed it. We have 5 boys. We're a very active family, and I needed to be doing things around the house and doing things with them. So this is what I learned. I decided that the best thing for me would be to get active, to build those core muscles. So I started small, and I started with yoga, just with some resistance training. You've heard of squats or planks, all that, just to build those muscles that Debbie talked about and help us not only feel better, but to be able to do things so much easier in our life. And then it has built into strength training. And what I wanted to share with you guys tonight is the benefits of strength training or resistance training if you choose to do that with your own body weight. You may be sitting there saying, well, I love to run. I love to ride a bike. And, that's kind of what we would call that cardiovascular type of workout. Please don't stop. That is all great. The ultimate workout would be if we could kind of have a mix of both. But in today's world, most of us stay very busy. So if you have a small window of time, I would like to share with you why strength training would probably be better for you. So here's some benefits. It preserves our muscle and stimulates muscle growth if that's something that you desire. It reduces our risk of injury. I had chronic back pain for years. And as soon as I strengthen those core muscles that Debbie mentioned in our belly, all of a sudden I don't deal with that anymore. It speeds up our metabolism. Oh my gosh, guys. Anytime I can sit down and rest and still burn some calories, I am all about it. So when we go in and we use those muscles, they keep burning calories on into the day. Where the cardiovascular workout, it kind of stops. The moment we quit running on that treadmill, our calorie burn is really slowed for the day. So that's why I say you get a little bit better deal with some strength training. It also strengthens our bones. It promotes fat loss by toning us up and making us look better in those blue jeans. It improves our heart health, lowering our blood pressure, lowering our cholesterol, balancing out those blood sugars for us. It improves immunity, improves our sleep, and overall brain function. And my favorite is, believe it or not, I feel better. I do it in the morning because it makes me feel good and I have a lot of energy to go throughout the day. So if we want to use our muscles, we have got to fuel them. So what do we fuel them with? Protein. And if you walk into any grocery store, a lot of things have added protein. It's like the buzzword. It's exactly what everyone needs. But truthfully, our body's made of protein, just like Debbie shared with the muscles, and it runs off of it. So it is an important part of our nutrition. That was an area I was failing on. I mentioned not only was I skinny fat, but I was exhausted. And part of it was because my nutrition was nowhere where it needed to be. And no matter what I ate, it stuck to me. So there's a lot of freedom that we can get and a lot more foods that we can eat when we combine what we need to do with good nutrition and exercise. Okay, so what does protein do for us? Growth and repair of our tissues. That's our whole body with tissues. Helps in building up our immunity. Antibodies are proteins in our body, believe it or not. So we need to feed those. It makes up most of our body's hormones. So we've got reproduction, growth and development, and then appetite regulation. So glad reproduction is not part of my life anymore, but I have 5 boys and I'm blessed by them. Growth and development, I want that. Don't go to the gym for no reason, but also for anti-aging and all that we can toss into. And then appetite regulation, just like I mentioned, eat some proteins, feel full, you're going to keep burning those calories. So it all adds up together. Provides our body with structure so we don't just look like a skeleton or we're not kind of all jiggly. It gives us some structure. And then proteins are the building blocks to our bones, muscles, cartilage, skin, hair, nails, all the things. So if you don't have protein in your life, add it in there. However, it can get really daunting and it's hard to be just spot on with your nutrition and getting in everything you need. Same thing with your vitamins, right? The whole reason we take a multivitamin is because if we tried to eat all the right things, we would probably just check out. We probably just wouldn't do it. Or maybe that's me. So I just take a multivitamin. So just like Debbie mentioned, and even Amber touched on this when she opened tonight, talking about how as we age, we lose some of our muscle mass. It makes me think of my grandmother. She's literally been the same size that I can remember for all my life. But truth be told, just like Debbie shared with us too, she has been losing muscle since 30. So that's been replaced with fat. And she may be the same size on the outside, but she doesn't have those muscles to do those activities of daily living. Guys, that was the biggest game changer for me. I can pick up that big 55-pound dog food bag and I have no trouble anymore. I don't know about you, but it's like a personal challenge when I come back from the grocery store on how many bags can I pick up and get from my car to my house. Please don't do that if you have like back pain or something. But it's just a personal challenge. I can do all those things so much easier because I worked on the strength training. I worked on adding the protein in. But let me tell you what's been the biggest game changer for me for the past few months. And it is the best thing to keep the muscle that we have and to help us build more if we want it, is some amino acids. And just like a multivitamin, it's a supplement that we want to add. And what is it? It is proteins broken down really small. So when we do take those, they go into our bodies, they work immediately, they are the catalyst and like the light switch to turn everything on. So when we do eat the nutrients, they are able to be used correctly and quickly and to our benefit. So I have lots of great things that they do for us. We'll be able to share that with you later if you stay on. I just want to share my personal I guess my personal benefits I have had from them. I have not been sick, guys. That's huge. I'm just saying there's a lot of sickness right now. I've been able to tone muscles, build more muscle, have more endurance in the gym. I'm able to lift a little bit heavier, so that's been fun. But my favorite part has been the energy that I still have this time at night, because I'm not kidding. Normally 8 p.m. my time, I would totally be crashed out on that couch, but I'm not. And I'm able to get so much more done. And then one thing I've noticed as well is my nails actually look good again. I have a lot more growth, like little baby hairs coming in. And just my skin and complexion is all a lot better. So I think that that's been a game changer to add those in and not have to be so spot on perfect in my nutrition, because that probably will never happen for me. I hope all this has been helpful for you. If you're doing the cardio work, keep doing it. If you can add in a little bit of the resistance training, do that. Add the protein, add the water, add all the good things that you can to make you feel good, and have an awesome year in 2024. Amber, I'll toss it back to you.
Oh my goodness, Jade, that was so many amazing good information, and then also tips on top of that for sure. So I would love it if you were watching us live, or if you're watching this on the replay, just put in the chat, what was your number one favorite tip that Jade had shared, or something that you feel like maybe you're going to make a switch in 2024 to really kind of help you focus on building muscle as you age. And you know, I don't know about you guys, but I know that's been important to me, and I've been working on that myself. And just like Jade had mentioned, been taking advantage of our proteins and aminos, and I even bought myself an eyelash curler for the first time ever in my life, because my eyelashes had gotten so long. So many benefits, and utilizing those for sure. So awesome. So I wanted my husband to come on and share a little bit about his journey and experience. So he's, I'll let him share. I was going to share just a snippet, but I'll let him share. But he wanted to share a little bit about his story as, you know, building muscle, just kind of his experience also with aminos, and how that's helped him as well. And you know what, building muscle also helps for him, and what it's done for him in his life. So you want to come off mute and share?
Absolutely. Thank you. And I don't know if you had a chance to watch everything and you caught everything that was there, but Debbie gave some amazing information on how the body works and what that looks like. And then Jade came on the side and started talking about what it looks like to strengthen, and, you know, how to fuel your body and all those different pieces. And for me, you know, my story is 7 years ago, I lost 60 pounds, and I started to be exactly what Jade talked about, skinny fat. Yeah, so I'd lost weight. Unfortunately, some of that weight was some muscle, which maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was, you know, fat, you know, it disguised as muscle. At least in my head, that's maybe what it was. But after losing that weight, I realized that I needed to do something more. Health wasn't all just about the one number on the scale. It wasn't just about the pounds. There was more to it than that. So I decided I needed to start working out. And I started doing some research and looking into that. And what does that mean for me? As Debbie mentioned, as men specifically, after the age of 30, we start to lose muscle mass on a very regular basis, 2 to 3% per year. She said 8% per decade, almost 30% of our muscle mass over the lifetime of our, of ourselves. That's a huge amount. And as Jade and Debbie both talked about, one of the ways that our body uses calories in the food and everything that we eat is through processing our muscles. Our muscles need calories. They need energy to work. And that's how our body uses the calories that we take in to do that. So if we're starting to struggle with our weight or with the feelings or something like that, then that may be part of it, is that we've lost some of that muscle that we've had. But in the research that I did, I looked at it, and there's really multiple different ways of exercise. You heard a couple of different things in there. You heard the cardio piece, so running and bicycling and those things that really get the heart going. And the heart is one of the muscles that's important to work on. So if you're doing that, absolutely continue doing that. Another aspect is the strengths. So building muscles, making them bigger, making them stronger, making them be able to last and endure longer. That's one of the things that for me, that was important because, I lost some weight. I wanted to see some muscle definition. So I needed to add some muscle to my body. So for me, it came down to strength training, and that came down to weights and lifting weights and getting heavier as I was lifting those weights over time. But another thing that I also found during that time that was also extremely important to the muscle aspect of things was actually stretching. Most people don't think about this, but stretching is extremely important. Think of your muscles like a rubber band. If you have a rubber band that doesn't get used, after a while, it starts to get brittle and it breaks really easy. And Jade mentioned that one of the things that building muscles and, resistance training and strength training does is helps to keep those muscles flexible and pliable and moving, which helps long-term on our health. It helps us to stay mobile. It helps us to stay healthy and just moving as we continue to age and get older. Because one of the worst things that we want to do is, go through this life, lose this weight, do whatever we're doing, and then at the end, have functionality problems, not be able to move around, not be able to do the things that we want to do later in life because we haven't taken care of ourselves along the way. And for me, that came in muscle training. So what I did is I do what's called high intensity interval training. So HIIT is what it's the acronym for that is. What that is it's a combination of strength training and cardio all in one. And there's lots of different areas probably in your towns or near you that have capabilities around this, but I would definitely look at and consider looking at some combination of that where you get some type of cardio workout in there and some type of strength workout in there. And one of the things I will speak specifically to the ladies, because men typically don't bother with this, but increase your weights. So women, I typically see them, they'll go and they'll do their 5 pounds or do their 10 pounds. And they're like, oh, I don't want to get all muscly and strong. I don't want to be all, no, increase the weights. Your body needs that to continue to build, especially as we get older. As all of us get older, we need to continue to push our bodies to continue to keep that muscle going. So don't be afraid of going from 5 pounds to 10 pounds and 10 pounds to 15 pounds. It's actually a very good thing. You heard Jay talk about one of the practical applications of this, picking up that 55-pound bag of dog food, being able to lift it without any problems. Right? You don't do that by just lifting 5-pound weights all the time. You do that by continuing to add to yourself. You continue to push yourself. But then, along with that, there's the aspect of fueling your body. So there's proper nutrition that comes into play. One of the words that you heard out there was protein. Protein is extremely important. I will put a caveat on that though. There is too much protein that you can eat. So if you're not working out, you're very sedentary, be very intentional in terms of the amount of protein that you eat, because anything that your body doesn't process and doesn't use, it stores. And how does it store it? It stores as fat. So you don't want to eat too much protein, but you also don't want to undereat, especially if you're working out, you're doing strength training, and you do those things where your muscles burn. Because as Jade mentioned, cardiovascular, working out is great. You burn the calories while you're working out. Strength training actually goes that step beyond. So you go and work out for 30, 45 minutes, your body will actually continue to burn calories and need additional protein and amino acids in there to help the synthesis of it and building those muscles behind it for an additional 45 minutes to 2 hours after the fact of working out. So that's where the strength training comes into play, where you can have the combination of the cardio along with the strength. And then in your off times or down times, maybe every other day, you're doing some of those flexibilities things, some of those stretching, some of those types of things. So just incorporating those things. Now, for me, one of the things that Jade mentioned was amino acids. And I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to call them essential amino acids. These are things that your body does not produce naturally. This is something your body has to get from an outside source. And as she mentioned, if you're eating food and eating a balanced diet, you can get these things naturally. But one of the things that may not happen is you doing that. So there are supplements to come with that. There are protein powders, there are EAAs out there that you can do to help supplement that. And I know when I did those, I had those exact same benefits that Jade talked about. The muscle retention, the muscle soreness after working out, where I still get a little sore, but I don't have that debilitating soreness that keeps me from wanting to work out for the next 2 to 3 days. The muscle growth, the muscle seems to respond much better when I have the clean protein in there and the EAAs in there. So for me, highly recommend that when you're getting in there, look at the ways that you can focus on all 3 aspects of working out. Don't just focus on just running. Don't just focus on just the strength training and lifting weights, or just the flexibility aspect of it. Look at some way to incorporate all 3 of those, and they don't have to be in a gym. You can do these things in your homes. The weight trainings, as she talked about, you can do, push-ups against the wall. You can do different things where you're using your own body weight. So just look at ways that you can incorporate all of the different aspects of exercise in there to help maintain and or build muscle long-term. Thank you. Back to you, Amber.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And, I will say one of the things you mentioned is that, if we're overeating our proteins, it does end up turning into fat. However, for women, I usually find they're under eating their proteins. And for males, I usually find they're overeating their proteins. So that may not be the case for some people, but on the most majority of the people that I coach, that's usually what I find. So just be cautious about that. Shared about, upping as a female, being, cognizant of upping our weights and, 5 and 10 pounds. I mean, come on, ladies, we've got kids that weigh more than that we're toting around. We, just like Jade mentioned, we're getting all those groceries in one swooped, what do you call it? Run. And I know those groceries together, you're doing more than those 5 or 10 pounds. So if you can do all that, you can up the weights there. So I just wanted to encourage you ladies to kind of think about it as far as that goes. But anyways, we want to share with you guys some freebies. So thanks for hanging out with us, whether you're on live or on the replay, but we want to make sure to get you those freebies for hanging out with us. And I hope we shared just kind of what was on our heart, why muscle is so important to you and your health, from here moving forward, especially as we start to age. And I want to share my presentation. Hopefully this is it. Yes, we are back to the presentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a keyword with you. And then if you want that freebie, you put that keyword in the chat. So the first one that we have here is tips. So if you want our tips, these are the ones that we shared. You didn't have time to write all the great things down that we shared tonight, but you want those top tips of the benefits of strength training, what amino acids do for your body, why protein is important, and you want to get those, put tips in the chat, and we will get you all of those tips. The next freebie that we have for you is protein. So we talked a lot about protein tonight. If you are already using something, great, but if you do not use anything and maybe you're already not getting enough protein in your diet, or you are working out and need to supplement some additional protein, and you want to take a look at the protein that we're all using, we can share with you more if you just put protein in the comments, and we'll get you a PDF and some information about the active proteins and what all that entails and how that can help you in your diet. The next one is amino. Put amino in the chat. You heard us talk about amino acids, their benefits, what they're doing for our body, longevity, all the good things, our anti-aging secret, if you will. So put amino in the chat if you want to get this full PDF of all the benefits of amino acids and get information on what those are and how they may be able to help you in what you're trying to accomplish in your health and for your future. And the next freebie here is we have a free group. So if you're not already plugged into a health group that has some great recipes, good healthy community, all the things, great tips like things we're sharing tonight, we would love to plug you into this free group if you put group in the comments. This is a private group. There is 289,000 members, as you can see. So a lot of people, very active, and just, someplace you can hang out and glean more information about what we're all about and ways that you can help yourself learn some healthy habits and healthy nutrition. So we'd love to plug you in there. So put group in the chat or in the comments if you want to get plugged in there. The next freebie, we talked a lot about, stretching exercises, yoga, body weight, strength training, all the things. So I know there are people that could potentially be remote. Maybe they don't have access to a gym, but maybe you can get your hands on some bands, or maybe you have some weights already at home. There are things you can do. So if you would like access to this app, it's called Active. Just put train in the comments and we will get you information on how you can get plugged into this app. I forget exactly how much the subscription fee is, but it's somewhere between like $5 and $12 a month. So super cheap, cheaper than most gyms that you're going to find, but it can get you started and give you a routine and get you some coaching on how you can build more muscle if that is what you choose to do, or the stretching exercises we talked about and all the things. So put train in the comments if you would like information on that. And then the very last one I would like to share with you, if you've not heard about our active products, you loved hearing about the information about our protein and active tonight. This is just a starting bundle I have on the screen. If you would like to get started in something like that to help you on your fitness journey or your health journey or preservation of your muscle journey, this beginning kit starts at $152 this month. It's $30 off. We have a promotion going on. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, get with the person that invited you, or just put chat down below. And if you want to talk about that with a person that invited you, they'll just connect with you to have a health chat. And if you do that health chat between January 7th and January 10th, so over these next couple of days, we'll enter you into a drawing to win this great body weight scale, which tells you all kinds of information about your muscle mass, your protein intake, all these different things we've been talking about. This is going to track it for you and help you be more intentional as you move forward in your health. And we want to do that for you. So if you want to have a chat about all of those things and see how this may be able to benefit you, the active line, you could be a current client even that maybe is not utilizing these products right now, but you want to talk to your coach about it. Put chat in the comments. And we'll get you connected. And if you do not know who invited you, don't worry, I'll get you plugged in to the person that connected you if you reach out to me, and we'll make sure you get that chat done so that you can get entered into this drawing. But anyway, I would love to say thank you for all the wealth of information that Debbie provided, Jade provided, and the personal testimony she shared too, and for Rick and his story as well. And I hope you guys got as much out of it as I did. And we thank you so much for joining us. If you know of anyone who could benefit from the information we shared tonight, I just urge you to tag them in the comments here for our event. And it'll be up for a while, so they'll have access to that. And maybe, you know, they could benefit from all the information that we shared this evening as well. So thanks for joining, everybody. Have a good evening.